All right. So Chalk Talk with Coach O. Let's go. So I got this question from somebody on Instagram. He said, "Hey, Coach O, I've been struggling with confidence ever since I started playing basketball. I always get scared and intimidated by opponents and get sometimes distracted by the crowd. This brings me out of my zone, and therefore I continue to go on and have a terrible game. I've been trying everything, but nothing seems to work. What would you tell me if I was your player?" Thank you so much for this question, Ralph. Ralph, you're gonna be really happy to hear that you're not the only person going through this. This happens a lot, and I'm gonna start this question by talking about the zone, and I'm gonna go on two things about the zone. First thing first is the zone is very personal. It's very relative. Everybody has their own interpretation of what the zone is for them. So if I was to ask you, and you guys, everybody here can have their own exercise, and I tell you guys, if you were to have the greatest game of your life, what would it look like? Everybody would have different interpretations of what the zone is, of what they feel is the best game that they could play. The next thing about the zone is I want you to start thinking about it as you have to try to get as many. If let's say at the beginning of a game, I start with a +0, just not talking about points, but just in general. I didn't do anything. I'm just in the game. For you to get to the zone, you have to accumulate as many positive plays or positive actions for you to be able to get into that zone. And that's where you feel like you're playing and you're feeling like you're almost like on autopilot, like you're just playing. By combining these two things, you now start to understand that there are some things that you can control and other things that you cannot control. So if you were my player, Ralph, if you were my player, what I would tell you is, depending on what your perception or what your idea of the zone is, what you got to do is focus as much as possible on the things you can control. I'm going to give you a little bit of my personal experience. I always had games. I always found that the games where I went in, I'm like, I'm going to score 20. I'm going to score 10. I always found that those were the games where I played the worst. And that's because a lot of the times when you establish this goal of in points, what it is that you want to do, when you don't achieve, like you start calculating in your head, right? If let's say I say I'm going to score 20 points. If I don't have 10 points at half, I'm already feeling like, damn, I'm behind in my own goal. So what I'm going to tell you, Ralph, is this is the trick. Okay. This is something that worked very well for me. I always found that I played better when I focused on just making the right plays, playing good defense. I would go into games and make sure that I communicated as much with my teammates. Okay. I would go for rebounds, things like that, right? Things you can control. You could control your effort, but you can't control whether a shot goes in or not. You could have the same shot. You could take the exact same shot 40 times and have 40 different results. Might hit the back of the rim, might hit the front of the rim. They all might go in, but it's different results, right? So what you have to tell yourself is, when I get into the game, my bucket is empty. I'm trying to fill my bucket up with as many positive plays as possible. So when you're going into these games, you're thinking, okay, I'm in, I'm talking. Hey, if let's say Jack is on my team, hey, Jack, rotate down. And Jack rotates down. Jack gets a steal. Boom, that's positive play for me. And what you'll notice is that the more you focus on your effort, it's going to be very hard to get you out of the zone, Ralph. Very hard for somebody to get you out of the zone because you can't control whether shots go in or not. But your effort, your will, diving for loose ball, deflections, rebounds, that's all you. So at the end of the day, when you feel like you're out of the zone and you're not in control, the only reason why you're not in control, Ralph, is because if a good game is you driving a car, you gave those keys to somebody else. And you're not owning your own confidence. I hope this helps. I know a lot of people are going through this. Thank you so much for asking the question, Ralph. If anybody else has any other questions, please do not feel free. Please do not. Oh my God. Please feel free to ask away. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, TikTok, wherever. And I'm sure we could help a lot of people. So I appreciate you guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.